Hello, and welcome to 20 Lore Pro, a community of Lorcana players who enjoy deck building, competing, and opening Lorcana product. You can find out more at our Discord community, 20lorepro/Discord, link in the description. We have tons of upcoming events, deck lists, and deck discussions. In today's video, we'll be at Evolutions Trading in Killeen, Texas, watching their 1K Lorcana tournament the first weekend of Into the Inklands Set 3, featuring Carmen piloting Amber Amethyst versus Tyler piloting Amethyst Ruby. Wish our competitors luck and enjoy the video.
Hello and welcome to 20 Lore Pro. Today we are at Evolutions Trading in Killeen, Texas, doing a Lorcana 1K, the first one of Set 3 for Into the Inklands. I hope that you all are prepared as I am to enter into the Inklands to see what competitive Lorcana looks like now that this amazing set has come out. So many great cards to see, and just can't wait to see how these players have incorporated it into their decks. We may not see too many depending on how many players were able to get their hands on Set 3, as I know many of you may have experienced the quick grab to try to get Set 3 cards. But we're hopeful today that here at Evolutions Trading that we're able to see some Set 3 cards used in some powerful ways. One of the cards we have up here on the screen for you is Jafar. This card is a 7-drop that has a 4/5 body, really strong with that Shift 5 ability, so you can come down on turn 5 if you have any of the earlier Jafars. And he's got Evasive, which makes him incredibly strong, hard to get to with your characters in order to challenge him. But his last ability, being the strongest, Power Beyond Measure, says during your turn while this character is exerted, whenever you draw a card, gain a lore. It's a really strong ability, especially with a card like Whole New World, where when your opponents discard your hands to draw 7, that could be a lot of lore gained at that time. Well, here we are in round 1 of 5 at Evolutions Trading. We want to thank them so much for hosting today's Lorcana 1K. We see Tyler Mink on the left versus Cameron on the right. Tyler piloting a Amethyst Ruby deck, with Cameron piloting a Amber Amethyst deck list. Looking forward to see what these two players are playing with in their decks. They may be playing with cards like Whole New World and Jafar. We'll have to see what these two players have brought from Into the Inklands into their decks. These two players are doing their mulligans now, trying to decide if they want to keep. Again, we want to thank everyone for tuning in today for Evolutions Trading Lorcana 1K, the first one of Set 3. The announcer just said that the round 1's beginning. Players give a good fist bump. Love to see the camaraderie of this community. Just a really family-friendly player environment between Tyler and Cameron. Tyler with the turn 1 mini, as we saw from Set 2. Cameron playing her card. Tyler using that Metamin Snake that we've seen so often from Set 2. I wonder how much this deck has changed going to Set 3. New powerful cards can be added to it. Cameron taking her turn, playing a Cusco. Cusco, whenever it dies, or whenever it's banished, be able to draw a card off of it. making it a really strong strategy, allowing yourself to gain some lore while also drawing cards. They're playing friends on the other side, drawing and luring. Now, a lot of players will use that Madamim Snake to get in early because it's got that 3/3 body. That way it's not easily challenged by the early drop characters. Now, Cameron over here playing Amber Amethyst. We see a dock on board, and I'm wondering if they're playing the Mufasa list, or if this is a control variant. Dock just being really strong with the ability to quest for 2, having that 2/3 body itself. And whenever it does quest, you're able to pay 1 less for the next character. Means that you can maybe get a Mufasa or a Rapunzel out, maybe even a little earlier for less. Cameron gaining her lore with her Cusco, who she is not afraid to get banished, that way she can draw those cards. There's the names updated for y'all on the overlay. Cameron signed to play a Madamim Fox. No, it looks like she discarded it due to the new location card from Tyler. This may be the Queen's Castle. The Queen's Castle, I think, is a card that may see quite a bit of play this season, being a pretty powerful location that can just do so many things. There's that Queen's Castle up on the screen for you to read. It gives you the 2 passive lore, and that's start your turn. For each character you have, you may draw a card. It having that 7 toughness really makes it hard to banish for other opposing players, as well as being inkable. Tyler playing that goat that we've seen so often, able to just gain a lore when it ETBs, when it leaves, and anytime you quest with it. Very strong ability. Cameron questing. Decides to ink. She's got a lot of ink in her inkwell. And jumps out a Simba. That way she's got some bodyguard to protect that dock, continuing to make her next played character 1 less expensive. I want to say that this was the card that Cameron was playing earlier, this Diablo Raven. Because whenever you play a character named Maleficent, you may look at the top card of your deck, put it either top or the bottom of your deck. I believe that's what she was playing earlier, can't quite tell. And Cameron playing her own Merlin, but this time the rabbit, able to draw cards off the top. Seeing these 2 Amethyst players try to take advantage of the ability to draw cards, that way they can gain more resources and get ahead quicker. Merlin Rabbit being strong, especially with a Simba on board, able to protect it, that way you can gain some more lore by questing. Tyler using his Madamim Fox to get rid of that bodyguard. I believe putting 2 damage from the Simba onto the Madamim Fox. I think Tyler was pointing out his ability trigger from the Queen's Castle. Sometimes it can be hard to remember that these locations are on the board and that their abilities are triggering based on when they activate. There's that Madamim Fox up there on the screen for you to see. There's Tyler putting that damage on that fox from the Simba. decides to ink. Pass it over Cameron, who quests with Doc. He immediately rushed out of Lilo. Lilo being a low drop character that can really quest for a whole lot of 2. We're seeing this back and forth match between Cameron and Tyler, 10-9. Really each turn trying to play out creatures that way they can gain more and more lore. And here is Cameron with 2 Arthurs. That is a lot of lore that Tyler is staring down for his turn. Really has to find a way to turn this around to take care of some of these Arthurs. Arthur being a strong card, especially right here when you have 2 other characters to bounce. Whenever he's able to quest, return a character to the hand to gain 2 lore. Doc gaining 2 lore. Lilo gaining 2 lore. And then the Arthurs bouncing them for a total of 3 more additional each. That's quite a bit of lore in one turn. Possibly the match, or the game right here for game 1. Tyler playing that Dragonfire. Decides to get rid of that Doc. Cameron taking her turn. Going up to 14. There's another Lilo down. After it was bounced to hand by the Arthur. Just a low character able to be bounced back to hand and recast for very little resources used. It looks like our ink is flipped around. I'm sorry, our lore count in our ink. $17 to $14. Really thinking about a way to take care of these Arthurs while also looking at all of the questing ability that Cameron has on the board, trying to weigh his options down. Decides to put a damage on Arthur, possibly with a Teeth and Ambition available in hand. We see RLS in hand, another location, brand new to Into the Inklands. Wants to draw to see what his options are, see if he can find another out. We see a Scar in hand. Scar, if it can come out, really has the ability to clean up this board, at least for the Arthurs. But it looks like he doesn't quite have enough. Arthur just really showing the power of his ability this game. When you have Lilos to put out or Simbas to give bodyguard to protect your Arthurs, making a very strong combo to get a lot of lore. I think that's it. Tyler shows his hand. Could not find a Be Prepared or something to take care of the rest of the board. And we're going to go into game 2. Players taking their mulligans. We're going to double check to make sure that our lore count is on the correct player. I think we may have had that a little backwards last game, but we knew that Cameron had won. We are back. Game 2 of round 1. Cameron taking the first match, or the first game, playing a Amber Amethyst aggro list versus a updated Amethyst Ruby bounce deck. Tyler using that Metamim Fox to bounce his snake, preserving some damage that was on it, getting rid of that really powerful dock. That way the Arthur cannot bounce it back to hand and gain really 5 lore. That's why these Amber Amethyst aggro deck lists are just so strong. Really utilizing these characters and questing, and bouncing them back to hand to gain more. Lilo just being so strong, even seeing play here into set 3 into the Inklands due to its low cost, high quest ability. Tyler trying to establish his board with some aggro hate characters. I went back and talked to my team, and this was the card that Cameron had been playing during the first game, that whenever this card quests, you may banish them to draw a card, and it's inkable at 2/1. The Chernobog's followers. Chernobog being such a strong card in Amber, we may possibly see that here today, but most likely not in this list. Tyler trying to establish a really aggressive attack-powered board. That way he can take care of anything Cameron puts out, using that Fox in a trade willingly to get rid of that Arthur, which is so pesky for him. Tyler deciding what to ink. Really showing that those locations are good, especially when they can be inked. Choosing to ink this time the Queen's Castle due to seeing another one in his hand. Very strong turn from Tyler, who was able to clean up Cameron's board while also establishing some card draw off of the Maleficent. Cameron taking her turn. Plays her own Merlin Goat, trying to gain some lore. And there is Tyler's The Queen's Castle yet again on the board, trying to gain some passive lore and also draw cards, gain resources. Tyler's deciding to play the race against time to try to gain some more lore. We're going to reset those lore counts for you real quick. We had them flipped on the screen. Cameron using that goat to get rid of that snake and gain lore. Oh, and there is the Chernobog. Did not think that we were going to see it this match, but makes sense with a deck that plays so many low-cost creatures. Chernobog just costing less for each character that's been banished. And whenever you play it, just shuffling everything else back into the deck. All of those aggro cards that Cameron wants to see again are now back into her deck. And now she has a 9/9 Quester for 3. Takes a lot to get rid of this Chernobog evildoer, who can also is powerful enough to take care of the Queen's Castle. Chernobog being uninkable, still seeing a huge effect here on the board. But that's why Tyler plays a Dragonfire, one of the few cards that can really take care of it in one go, apart from Be Prepared and the Maleficent Dragon. But a strong play nonetheless from Cameron, able to put back those low aggro cards back into her deck. We see Cameron deciding to double play Rabbit into Stitch. Some players like to play their rabbits, draw first, see what they drew, and then play, but Cameron being confident in her play, knowing that Lilo is going to be the best thing to help her this time. Tyler having played so many draw spells this game. Not spells, but characters and cards. Tyler questing for 2. Sorry for switching back the lore count. We see Tyler here at 15 and Cameron at 9. Plays his own go, going up to 16. Tyler playing another new card. Looks like a Simba, which is one of the new cards from Into the Inklands set 3, able to quest for 2. I'm sorry, able to quest for 3, and is just such a strong character that can get in for a lot of lore here at the end. Cameron, trying to assess her situation, determines that Tyler has enough questing power on board to take the game. We're going to a game 3 here in round 1. Really exciting stuff for here into the Inklands competition. Again, we want to thank so much Evolutions Trading for hosting this Lorcana 1K the weekend of the release of Into the Inklands. Really excited to see these players play with cards from set 3. Here we go into game 3 of round 1. Both these players being 1-1. We'll see if the Amber Amethyst aggro deck can overcome the Amethyst Ruby bounce control. There's a strong turn 1 Maleficent from Carmen. The turn 1 Maleficent just being so strong, able to quest for 2. Now we see Tyler with his infamous turn 1 mini. We've seen that quite a bit from him this match. Carmen trying to protect that Maleficent using a exerted Simba that has bodyguard. Tyler determining if he wants to try to poke into that Simba or just lore, which he does. Carmen inking. We'll see what aggro card she can get out this turn. Plays another Maleficent, and the new, as we saw earlier, Chernobog's Followers 2-1. Even though it is banished whenever you quest, being able to draw a card can do a lot for an aggro deck that's trying to gain more resources and get characters down. Here's Tyler inking. We see that Teeth and Ambition in play in his hand. Looks like he's going to go ahead and use it. Also to take out one of these Maleficent. And that's exactly what he does. Maleficent just being so strong right here, especially when there's a bodyguard in the way protecting them. Decides to quest with his mini. Pass it up to Carmen. Carmen deciding to quest. Tyler looking at 4 ink, enough for a rabbit or a bounce into fox that he might do that we see in hand. Finally having enough to take out this bodyguard Simba, which is doing so much this match for Carmen. Carmen having a goat, we know that she can gain quite a bit of lore. It's nice to see this Amethyst in this Amber deck, really giving it the ability to draw cards. That way you can have more resources to gain lower cost characters and playing them as quickly as you can. Carmen inks a dock into Lilo. Goes up to 12. Tyler having the ability to take out that Maleficent now with that Madame M. Fox, which has damage from the Simba. Decides to use that Fox to possibly cast a Friends on the Other Side, trying to decide what he'd like to do. That's exactly what he decides, drawing some cards. Decides to leave the goat on the board. Took a peek at what he inked. We'll try to make sure that doesn't quite happen in the future. And we see the Dragonfire coming back out. Decides to take out that Lilo before it can gain too much lore. Another low-cost aggro character, really gaining a lot with its questing power of 2. And we see Carmen counting up her banished pile, deciding that she has enough to play that Chernobog. Here we see again that 9/9 Chernobog. We saw last turn Tyler use that Dragonfire to take out that Lilo. Carmen deciding that it was a safe time to play that Chernobog, now that she had seen the Dragonfire out of Tyler's hand. We'll see if that play was a good decision. Either way, it seems like a strong play. Sometimes, especially after you've already seen them play one, it's worth playing your card, because the odds of them having another copy of it is very low. It's like Tyler's trying to find that Dragonfire or be prepared. This just goes to show the power of Into the Inklands, as we see these cards really making big waves. This is a Evolutions Trading Lorcana 1K. We have a judge who is on the floor who's watching the matches. We see a Be Prepared from Tyler's side. He finally found it off all the draws. Carmen getting a lore off of the loss of the Merlin Goat, going up to 19. Throws down 2 more low-cost characters, a Maleficent and a Cusco, 2 characters, that way she can quest with either of them and win the match. Tyler lacks the ability to get rid of both of them and decides to pass it up. And that's the game. That's the match. Carmen takes it with Amber Amethyst versus Tyler's Amethyst Ruby decklist. Again, that Chernobog just doing so much this game, requiring an answer from Tyler. Really excited to see some of these Into the Inkland cards make big waves in these decks. Excited to see what comes from the rest of the rounds from today's Lorcana 1K. Again, we want to thank Evolutions Trading for hosting this Lorcana 1K, the first competitive Lorcana tournament for Into the Inklands Set 3. We want to thank you all today for joining here at Twitch. We appreciate y'all and hope that you enjoy the rest of the rounds. We're going to take a quick break. We hope to see more Set 3 Into the Inklands, and we will see y'all in round 2.